It's time for Veterans Issues, the show that brings you information about veterans, military, and their family. Now here's your host, Ken Rollins.
Welcome to Veterans Issues. Ken Rollins here. Today's guest is Laura Beth Knight, and we're going to talk about dogs on deployment. You'll know what I'm talking about when you come back. See you there. Stay there and get you a pen. Welcome back to Veterans Issues. Today's guest is Laura Beth Knight. She's here I come out of Birmingham to do the show today, and I just met her today, but I know about what she's talking about, a little bit about it, and I want to learn more with you what she does. It's called Dogs on Deployment, and it's not what you think it is. They're not putting dogs out to send them to Afghanistan or whatever, but stay here and watch this with us today as we meet Laura Beth Knight. Welcome, Laura Beth.
Hi, it's good to be here.
Well, you got a handshake there. You must have a Marine in your life.
I do.
Oh,
I do.
You do?
Yeah, my boyfriend.
Oh, how'd I know that? You ever do that when somebody's like this?
Oh, no, I can't stand that.
It's like they don't give you any grip. They just in like a wet rag, and you go, oh, my goodness. That tells you a lot about the person. But I found out about you. You was on Carl Brady's East Alabama show, and I did not get to see the show, so this is good because I'm going to learn today as the folks are watching do. The ones that didn't watch him, my viewing audience is about 100,000 times more than. No, I'm just kidding you there. And he'll be watching that. I hear from him. But now this is dogs on deployment, and rather than me trying to tell the folks, how about tell me what that means?
Okay. Dogs on Deployment is a nonprofit that helps military members who are going overseas or PCSing to find somebody to help them board their dogs while they're gone. We have volunteer boarders that take care of the animals while the members of the military are overseas. We do also have a program that financially helps military members and veterans when they have costs related to spaying and neutering or other veterinary issues that may come up.
Let me stop you back there. You said veterans with PTSD. Is it just for veterans that have PTSD?
Oh, no, PCS, I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah, I wonder.
We do sometimes board for veterans who are in the hospital.
That's permanent orders is what you're saying?
Yes, yes, okay. Yes, that's correct.
Because we got people out there that don't know what we're talking about.
Okay.
We use acronyms, they go, oh, you got PCS. I had that one time, went to penicillin, got rid of it.
Yes, we do, they help people who are either going overseas or relocating who are in the military. And we also sometimes will help veterans if they're going to be in the hospital for a long stay or something. It kind of depends on the situation.
So if you got let's say a male veteran, a male military person, and they get PCS, they get orders to go to Afghanistan, you'll take care of their dog while they're gone.
We help them find someone.
Well, I mean, you'll help them make sure that he don't leave the dog or have to give it up, and they'll be there when he comes back. Right?
Exactly, exactly.
What if that person is married, and is it available for him or her if they have a spouse?
Most of the time, no. If they have somebody, if they have family that can take care of the animal, then those people handle that. On occasion, there are circumstances that allow for us to help them find boarders. Our program is mostly for people who have no other opportunities. A lot of the times, these people who come to us looking for somebody to board their animal, they're looking at possibly having to take this dog to the pound.
Wow.
And we don't want them to have to surrender it to the shelter or anything. We want them to be able to keep their family together. So we help them, usually it's single service members who don't have other options.
Anybody that's ever saw this reunion pictures that they have on Facebook of the dog seeing
yes.
the dad, and in some cases the mom coming in for the first time, and you see that. If you got a heart at all, you can't handle it, you know. I'm glad I'm home by myself when I'm watching those, you know, because they're very emotional to see the animals have a undying love. It's not they don't care if you smell bad or if you had a bad day or whatever. They always the same, ready to, glad to see you. And I can just imagine if I had me a shepherd or whatever, and had to worry about the dog while I'm over there, worrying about my life. You know, is that
Exactly.
along the lines of what y'all? And you
Exactly.
said this is a 501c3. It's a not-profit.
That's correct.
Is it nationwide?
Yes, it is. It started in California. Our founders, Elisa and Sean Johnson, they both had deployed at the same time and had to find someone to take care of their dog. And luckily, they had family members that could. But they began to think about it and talk about the fact that, you know, what happens to people that don't, and they have to surrender to the shelter or whatnot. And that's how it got started. Started as kind of a grassroots campaign in California. It's grown into a nationwide thing.
This is ironic that we're doing this show today because by the time people see it on television, I will be down at Panama City Beach, and my little dog will be in the animal veterinarian place down there. They've got little suites, they call them. So I have to pay the top dollar. Matter of fact, the dog's room is about what mine is in Panama City. And it's not more, but my daughter insists on it being the Alabama suite instead of the Auburn suite.
Oh.
I don't know if that has anything to do on any kind of stigma on my dog or not, but but it stays in the Alabama suite.
Yeah.
And when I say suite, it costs like a suite. So I can only imagine just in 4 days, we had one at Yorkshire Terriers, what it is. You know, they rule the world. And we were down there one time, and Panama City or Gulf Shore or something, and the vet called, and the dog's name was Gizmo, and he says, does your dog have a coughing problem? I said, no. He said, we checked everything about your dog. Nothing wrong with it physically, but he just won't stop coughing. I hear it in the background. So sure enough, I left there that night, drove all night long, got here at 6 o'clock. I done to pick the dog up. I hear back there coughing. And he heard my voice. He stopped coughing. One day, by the time they got him up there, he ain't coughing. He never did cough. It was.
Sounds right.
You know, is that awesome? He just like ruined my vacation.
No.
So that's awesome. But I mean, I understand what it would be like to. What other conditions would it be that somebody would need to babysit their dog or foster their dog, for lack of a better term?
Most of the time, it is when they're going on deployments and whatnot. Sometimes, depending on the situation, they help if somebody has to go to some training. It really is kind of evaluated on a case-by-case basis. They can go online to dogsondeployment.org and go to the top right corner of the screen. There's a sign-up button, and they can go there and fill out the application, and then the customer service looks at it and will talk to them if they have any other questions, and then get them set up with an account so that they can get in touch with boarders in their area who would be interested.
So this is somebody that was willing to do that, can become a foster parent, so to speak.
They can.
They could actually go on the screen here. It's under your picture here on the screen, that AL-Birmingham at Dogs Deployment. See it right here on the screen. AL-Birmingham at dogsondeployment.org. If they could go on to that, they could get in touch with you, and you could tell them how to do that.
That's
or they
correct.
can call me, and I'll put them in touch with you. But it's amazing that you got those. You know, when I heard about it, I thought, now who would have thought of that? Because it's such a need out there. Because I talk a lot about the spouses that are left here behind, and I'll talk about that when we come back. We got to go to a break. Come back, we'll talk more with Laura Beth about dogs on deployment, and they're not going on deployment, but they're going to take care of those that are on deployment. Be right back. Welcome back to Veterans Issues. We're talking with Laura Beth Knight, and we're talking about dogs on deployment. And Laura Beth, when we went to commercial, we were talking about the various reasons that someone would, and about the foster people. And how long has this been available? Because I can't believe I haven't heard about it. Of course, I just found out Elvis Presley died, so
Oh, okay.
I'm not up on it. But no, how long has an operation like this been in effect? You know,
They
foundation.
started in 2011.
Okay.
We have had a chapter in Alabama since 2014, and we have been trying to grow this last year. We've really started buckling down here in the state, trying to grow our presence.
So, okay, so everybody in the audience, anybody in the audience ever heard of it before? I don't see any hands raised out there, so I'm not the only one that and we got a large audience here today. But anyhow, that's so you took just in Alabama. Since when I talked over you? When did you start in Alabama?
2014.
2014. Oh, that's just a few minutes ago.
Exactly. You're not too far behind.
So we need to get the word out there that people how to do that, because I know right now we got a lot of people in the area of our viewing audience right now that have PCS. They're ready to go. They're got it ready to go in a few months. I know a couple of young fellows that are going to be taken off. I don't know about their dog now. It's only dogs, right? No cats.
That's not true. We actually do dogs, cats. We've had reptiles. It's
Snakes.
They had a lizard at one point.
No,
I don't know
on.
about snakes.
Come on. I had no idea you did that. I didn't know you take care of cats.
Yeah.
Boy, that's a mess. 'Cause cats are independent. They wouldn't.
Oh yeah.
They'll tell you what to do.
Oh yes,
and
they
where
will.
to go to do it.
They will.
That's
On their
amazing.
time.
So somebody out there, if you know about that, the folks that's watching, if they know someone that's being deployed and they got an animal that they want to take, it's you have animals?
I do. I have
What
two
you got?
dogs.
What kind?
They're mutts. They're
But-
medium size. They're pretty good dogs.
You don't have any problem saying that they're closest family sometimes?
Oh yeah, they are family.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And anybody that's got one, I see people on Facebook that lost one. I had to have one put to sleep. And unless you've been there, don't tell me that you know what it's like. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
They just don't bother telling anybody. Oh, I know how you feel if you haven't done that.
Yeah.
That you've had to do that. It's like your firstborn child or something. You know that people. How could you love an animal? But some of the toughest old Marines you ever seen melt when the little dog gets around and licks them on the side of the face. And
Yeah.
you've got a Marine in your life.
Oh yes.
Is
yes.
one of them dogs his?
Oh yes.
The big one.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Kaiser's his, and oh yeah, he melts with that dog.
Yeah. I just think you got the medium dog and you got the other one. He's got the other one.
Yeah, he got
the
the
macho
other
dog. I got you. 'Cause you know how Marines are.
Oh yes.
I can do that here because I was Army. That when your area here, do you try to cover just northeast Alabama, or you try to focus on a certain point, or just anywhere in Alabama?
Everywhere in Alabama.
And you can, somebody that's say in Sylacauga or Pell City that's watching, they know of the situation, that contact you, and you could look around the area, and you try to get somebody in that area, right?
Yes, we have several people all across the state. We have people from Mobile to Florence to Huntsville. There are a lot of people all over the state that are interested, and we have small groups in the different areas that will get together and volunteer on things. So no matter where you're at, we can pretty much find other people to.
I know there's some people watching right now, and they're saying, I couldn't keep a dog for a year and then have to give it up. You know what I'm referring to?
Oh yes, oh yes.
They have to understand that that's not their dog, that when the Marine comes back home, he gets his dog back.
Yes. Well, and if people are not in the position to help keep a dog at the time, or a cat or anything, they can also just volunteer at events and help us do fundraisers to help get the word out and to help the veterans and the military members who need financial help with their animals. So there are other options. If somebody's not able to board the animals, they are able to volunteer at the events.
Do you have somebody that interviews, let's say, the foster parent to be, that to say Butch likes to A, B, C, and D. He likes to go out at a certain time. His routine is this. He likes to eat this. His snacks are this. And all. Do y'all have somebody that does an interview like that?
The military members, that's their responsibility. When they sign up on the site, they can see all the interested boarders in their area, and they can get in contact with them. And part of filling out your profile is saying, Butch likes to go out at this time, Butch likes to eat this kind of food, these are his treats. That's the kind of thing you can fill out on the profile to help the boarder see what the dog's schedule is and everything. The military member is encouraged to create a contract with the person, because a lot of these people are going overseas. They may be in combat zones. You know, anything could happen to anybody. Nobody knows when their time's up, and so there's a place on the contract that if something happens to me, this is what I want you to do with my dog. There's a place on the contract that explains, you know, if something happens to the dog and it needs veterinary care, this is how we're going to handle that while I'm gone, that kind of thing. There's an example contract on the website that helps the military member and the border go through all that information together so that they have a customized plan for the animal while they're away.
Did I understand you say that the border could get compensation for
Yes.
taking it, and they get through this organization?
The military member. Our organization, for the most part, is a database. It says these are the people that need help, these are the people willing to help. The military members are responsible for the dog's food and vetting and whatnot. Now, in the case that the military member needs help with the veterinary bills, we do have the grant program that helps
Okay.
the people.
That's what I was hoping you'd say there, because I should have done this up front, but let me ask you, how'd you get in this? Why are you doing it?
Well, I love animals, and with
Obvious.
obviously, and with my boyfriend being military, when it came time for his dog Kaiser to get neutered, he needed some help, and Dogs on Deployment helped him. He's a veteran, he's retired, and Dogs on Deployment helped him get Kaiser neutered, and that's when I found out about the
How'd
program.
they do that? Financially or?
Financially.
Okay.
They worked with his vet and sent some money to the vet to help with
Wow.
the neutering. And they were real professional, and I was really impressed with everybody I talked with, and I was looking for a volunteer opportunity. So I just kind of got, more and more involved.
The story was my boyfriend, a Marine, they needed some help getting neutered, and
Getting Kaiser neutered.
I know. I
Oh,
was
no.
messing with you. I was going to try to take it there anyhow because he's going to be watching this show. You know?
Oh, yeah.
What is
I'm
his
in
name?
trouble.
What is his name?
His name is Blake Guthrie.
And Blake was, what is he? He's retired now?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
How long was he in?
He was in for 4 years. He was stationed in Iwakuni, Japan.
Will you express our appreciation to him? And I sincerely mean that, because
I will.
just because I make fun of Marines, that's because they ain't in the room here. When they
No.
end here, people notice when I have one on the show, I don't talk like that. Just when they're not here. But these dogs, when if somebody decides to board your dog, is there any kind of specific place? We only got a few seconds, but a specific place that you're looking for from to be like a house with a fence yard and things like that? Or
It depends on the
on
military
the dog?
member.
I got you. So if you got an in-house dog like I do, spoil rotten that stays in the house, you don't have to worry about a fence. He don't know what grass is and dirt. All right, Beth, I appreciate
Thank
this, and I
you.
hope somebody out there gets some help from this, and
Thank you.
you can call me. So we're going to go to a break, come back. I got news that you can use. Stay where you are. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Veterans Issues. Ken Rollins, and today Laura Beth came in here to Laura Beth Knight, talked about dogs on deployment. If you got any questions about that, you give me a call on my information that's on the screen, right under there somewhere. And I want to remind you about the Pigskin Roundup is out. If you will come by TV 24, you can get that. I got it twisted around here, rankled, as somebody in the control room just told me. But it's the new Pigskin Roundup, and inside there in the folding, right in the centerpiece, you'll see about Robert L. Howard Veterans Home. We're so proud of that to have it here in Alabama, but also right here in Pell City. It's HMR that runs that, and this is a beautiful facility. And if no reason other, pick up your Pigskin Roundup and read about the Robert L. Howard Veterans Home in there. And by the way, they're still hiring down there. So the Pigskin Roundup, get you one, and they're free. And that right, the director on the floor, they're free? Yes, sir. That's what they're telling me from the floor right here. The audience, everybody that came in today, everybody in the audience get them one? Yep, sure did. Everybody got one. So we're good. Now, we're going to, as usual, I'm going to talk about the politics of this coming up. We're going to have a session that's going to be talking about a flat tax. We're going to be talking about unearmarking. I don't like the idea of the flat tax, and I had a discussion with Senator Hightower about that the other day. But I do have a problem with the unearmarking funds. And the unearmarking funds is the funds for the Education Trust Fund. and the Veterans Assistance Fund. The Veterans Assistance Fund is what I'm concerned about. We have 450,000 veterans in Alabama that depend on that fund for a lot of reasons. Their GI Bill, Alabama GI Bill. We got a cemetery where veterans can be buried for free, and their spouses and their siblings, the children, can all be buried for free in the state of Alabama because of that. The thing the fund does, it pays the department people that serve in the 67 counties around Alabama that file claims and bring in the revenue. Last year, over $1 billion of federal funds brought into the state of Alabama. We have 4 veterans homes, one up in Huntsville, one in Bay Minette, one in Alexander City, and the big one here in Pell City. We got 704 veterans in there today, and they could be put on the street. The people could lose their GI Bill, Alabama GI Bill, because nobody there to file it for them. We could just lose so many things if they unearmark the Veterans Assistance Fund. Now, the senators and everybody tell us they're not going to cut us a deal and allow the Veterans Assistance Fund to operate as it is with that money designated, it's designated funds. We're obligated with funds to the contractor, HMR. We're obligated for funds to operate the cemetery. Do we get to stop burying veterans? Do we have to turn the veterans that's in the homes out on the streets because somebody politically wanted to get to the access to funds that we have? And we have those funds because we're frugal. We manage our funds properly, and so we don't spend just on everything just that we see. So I want you to remember that when I call on you, when we're going to have to get our warriors on the road, because when we start talking about this next session, if somebody's talking, even our governor brought it up in this last session, unearmarked. It sounds like a great deal on the front, unearmarked it. Just take it away and let everybody in one pot. But the 2 people in the pot that get the first chance at all the dollars, number 1 is Medicaid, number 2 is the prison systems, and everybody else is on their own. That means public safety, that means the health department, that means the veterans. Everybody be fighting for that piece of pie, but the 2 that will get it, and the governor said this, are Medicaid and the prisoners. So if you're a prisoner or you're in the Medicaid system, forget the veterans that's earned all this. They're going down the tube. So I run out of all the other things I was going to talk about. So let's just let's give this shout out this week. Not this shout out, but this salute. This week I'm going to salute everybody that's going to step up to the plate and help us prevent. We want you to call Randy Wood, Dale Marsh, Gerald Dial, and every one of your elected officials. Tell them do not unearmark the phone. We got to go. See you next week here on Veterans Issues. Salute.